Good evening, everyone. This is Gerriann, and I'm an an independent demonstrator with Close to My Heart. And this evening, I actually am going to remake with directions one of the projects I made on my blog back in maybe like 5, 6 years ago. But Close to My Heart has come out with lots of great new products, and many of them are a combo of things that are actually scrapbook layouts, cards, as well as mini album pages, things like that. And so one of the things that I know that I need, as well as some other people have asked for, is a way to sort your project pieces in a way that doesn't take an entire additional group of pages or spaces in order to do that. So I went looking for the tutorial that I used to create this box back when I was doing cards and using the Card Confidence program and things like that with Close to My Heart, where we would put together a huge cutting guide and then cut it all up and sort the pieces all together and then put all the pieces in, and then you could pull them out. This actually came out of one of my customers who actually used a baby wipe container in order to do this. And so this project was born, and then with some of the other pieces and things that have come up, it's definitely something that I think will be beneficial, that people will be interested in seeing. So this evening we are going to create one of these, and then I have some upcoming projects where we will actively use it. But I wanted to share with you our brand new July and August catalog has come out. This is in addition to our annual catalog, which a brand new one will go live in August. I think the brand new one comes out in August. But anyway, this one has got some really great stuff. This is summer orientated. And that I'm sure that Close to My Heart didn't expect us to be stuck at home and or kind of in limited what we can and can't do around theme parks and things like that. Close to My Heart came out with an actual location or collection that is theme park themed. Disney, if as you can kind of see by the front cover. It also has kind of a summer beach as well as a camping, outdoorsy, mountain, lake kind of collection as well. And we'll go through and do a walk through at another time of the catalog. However, I do want to make sure that you're quite aware that the Happiest Places collection, you'll see it all over online if you are a paper crafter, if you've watched any YouTube videos or anything. This is a wonderful, wonderful collection. And the best part about it is that you can get all of the paper, all of the embellishments, all of the thin cuts, all of the things, including the cut above layout kit that makes a 16-page 8.5 by 11 album. And we will be going through all of that this month as well. But one of the cool things is that is available now. Close to My Heart on Tuesdays is actually doing a live show kind of going over collections, both past and current. They are working about a month behind, which gives you an opportunity to know kind of what projects you are going to want to purchase items for. You can find all of the items if they are close to my heart on my website at gerriann.closetomyheart.com. And that is in the description box below. But we're going to work on this box tonight. And so the things that you are going to need in order to create this box, which is going to come in so helpful for mini albums, for anything that you could possibly imagine, it is made using 10 envelopes that are that fit 5x7 cards. I went digging through my stash and looked. You could make bigger, you can make smaller, you can do adjustments for all kinds of things. But basically, even, you know, things that are longer than 7 inches will fit up. They'll just stick out a little taller, but you can definitely get things in here at least 7 inches wide, which is one of the really great things about this. The other is that it is an accordion style. It is a very sturdy box. The accordion definitely helps. So what you'll need in order to make this is you are going to need 10 5.5 by 7.5 or 5.25 by 7.25 inch envelopes. And I am using a value pack from Hobby Lobby. Again, this has been in my stash. Look in your stash and see what you got. I am using heavy duty craft colored envelopes. And the thing that you need to do is all 10 of your envelopes that you are going to use need to be completely sealed. So this is the last envelope that I needed to seal. So I'm going to go ahead and run a seal, some adhesive right along the side here. And basically, this is going to create our little pockets here. Okay, so we'll need 10 of those. So I have those all set and ready to go here. I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the side. You also are going to need, this is a nice, heavy, sturdy box. One of the cool things that close to my heart is they are in partnership with Cricut, and they have some wonderful Cricut collections and things like that. So one of the things that you do have access to on my website is purchasing Cricut cartridges or Cricut items and things like that. This is a piece of 2mm Cricut chipboard that comes in a package of 5. And you can order this online off my website if you're interested. You just go to you go to my website, you go all the way down to the bottom of the website, and you find the little Cricut, the little C in a green box. Click on it, log in. It gives me a little bit of kickback, but you can find that there. So this is one of the ways that you can do that. If you can use cereal boxes, you can use whatever it is that you have in your stash that will work for this. But this is heavyweight chipboard, 2mm, and I'm using the Cricut brand. And one of the things that I have done is I have drawn out the proportions of everything that needs to happen. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick photo of this with my phone in order to be able to put this up on a picture site for you guys so that you can see exactly what you need to cut. So again, this is one piece of 11 by 11. The cool part about it is that we can put it in our Cricut, and the Cricut with the knife blade would easily cut this out. However, nothing is wrong with just the straight edge ruler and a craft knife, which is what I'm going to do. I did write all of the measurements for the chipboard pieces. You will need one piece that is 5 by 7.5 inches. You will need 2 pieces that are 2.5 by 7.5 inches. You will also need 2 pieces that are 2.5 by 5 inches. And that will create the base of the box for this. Now, you don't necessarily need a base for the box. You can just build the accordion piece and then scrunch it up and put it in a drawer until you're ready to pull it out and do. It is completely up to you. You'll see as we do the accordion piece, it will stand up on its own. I just happen to like the box. Okay, so we've got our 10 envelopes, our 10 sealed envelopes. We have our 11 by 11 chipboard piece. I'm going to use some Kraft Cardstock, and this is actually going to be the construction strips that I'm going to use in order to make my box come together and stay. This is a part that you don't need to do if you are not interested at all. So please don't feel like this is something that you have to have. However, I'm going to need 6 construction strips that are 1 inch by 8 inch. I'm going to need 6 strips that are 1 inch by 6 inch. And I'm also going to need 8 strips that are 1 inch by 3 inch. So we'll go ahead and cut those out here in just a second. I am going to be using the Aurora collection. This is one of the pieces of paper in the Aurora collection, and it does have these really cool arrows on one side and then kind of a star pattern on the other. I'm going to go ahead and use the arrows, and the pieces that we're going to do for this will be, you need 4 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 7 1/4. You'll need 4 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 4 3/4, and then you will need a piece that is 7 1/4 by 4 3/4, and that again is to cover the box. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and cut my construction strips. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Kraft Cardstock, and this is Z1375. It is nice brown bag weight, like the brown bags that you get at the grocery store. This paper feels a lot like that, and that is totally a different feel than any of the other cardstock, the coated cardstock that Close to My Heart sells. And that. So again, we need 6 pieces that are 1 inch by 8 inch. So we're going to go ahead and start by cutting an 8 inch piece. And then we are going to cut at 6 inches. And then we're just going to back this up 1 inch at a time. And here we have, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's our 6 pieces of 1 by 8. We now need 6 inch pieces, and we need 6 of those. And so this is a 6 by 6 piece. So we're just going to cut at 1 inch strips. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and now we need 8 3 inch by 1 inch pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece at 3 inches, and we're going to go ahead and cut this in half since it is a 2 inch piece. So that gives us 2. This piece again is 3 inches. We're going to cut it in half, and that is going to give us 4. We're going to go ahead and cut this here at 1. This is going to give us 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that gives us all of our pieces out of one 12 by 12 piece of Kraft cardstock. And then that also allows you to have a scrap piece of 3 by 12. So that's an extra piece for you. So that's good there. Let's go ahead and cut our cardstock pieces that we're going to use for the sides of our box. And I'm going to go ahead and use this bulk paper from Close to My Heart from the Aurora collection. And I want my arrows to go up and down. So I'm going to be a little pickier and know that I want my strips to be 2 inches wide this way. So I know that my bigger measurements have to go across. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and cut the zip strip off of this. This is just a decorative edge strip that on one side has a piece that you can use, and on the other side it shows the colors and things that are part of the collection and where the paper came from. So our first cut for this we are going to do at 7 1/4. And then 4 3/4, and this is for the inside part of our box. And again, if you're not going to do the box part, but just want to do the accordion part, then that is completely fine. So our next piece, we need one for the front and one for the front and one for the back. So we're going to go ahead and cut a 2.5 inch piece and a 2.5 inch piece. And that I just screwed up. I just cut that at 2 1/4. We'll make that work. And then we need 4 of these at 2 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I must have some crud in my trimmer here. I'm going to run this little piece of paper up here and see if we can get some of that out of there. All right. So we have 3 of the 4 pieces that we need that way. We need a piece that is 4 3/4 inches wide for our inside pieces. So that leaves this piece here, and that is 4 3/4. And we're going to go ahead and cut at 2 1/4. At 2 1/4. And we need 4 pieces. And you know what? As I'm looking at my directions and my notes, I am seeing that these long pieces should have been 2 1/4, not 2 1/2. So that mistake I made is not going to cause a problem at all. So we just need one more piece of this striped paper for a 2 1/4. And this is lining both the inside and the outside of the box. Why? I don't know. I just like it that way. So let's go ahead and grab one more piece of this bulk paper. I'm going to go ahead and cut at 2 1/4 off of the bottom part here. And at 7 1/4. And that is all of the pieces of cardstock we are going to need in order to do our project here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set those aside. So we have all 4 of our side pieces, all 4 of our other pieces, and then we have this little piece of scrap that'll go with our cardstock there. Okay, so we have our pieces all set and ready to go. Put our zip strip off to the side as well. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take those 10 envelopes that you have that are 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 wide. And these envelopes, you are going to want a scoreboard or some kind of scoring tool in order to kind of make this work. So I'm going to move these off to the side here. I have this nice little tray that I kind of put pieces on that I'm working on. I'm going to go ahead and set that up here. So we've got our 10 little envelopes. Now, one of the nice things that I absolutely love using, and if I can find it, I'm not sure where I stuck it, is I have the stylus scorer for my Cricut. And I find that I like the way that that scores when I am using it. I tend to get a better score with it, all of that kind of stuff. So give me just a second while I locate what I did with it. And then I should have had that out and ready to go before we even started. Where did it go? It's one of the good / bad things about having a lot of supplies is sometimes you have things, you know you have them, you know you have used them recently, you just are not sure where they got put back. So let me see here. Nope, not in that trusty little spot. I do have a bone folder. I do have a stylus, so we may need that instead. Let's see. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and just use my stylus here instead of my Cricut tool because I'm not really sure where I stashed it. I stuck it somewhere super safe. I'm not really sure where that is right at the moment. But, okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to, all of these envelopes are sealed. So make sure all 10 of your envelopes are sealed. And then what we are going to do is we are going to score 2 of the sides at 1/4 of an inch. So if you put your envelope in on the 7 1/4 side, you're going to score at 7 1/4. You're going to turn this around. You're going to score at 5 inches. And because this paper is pretty thick and I just didn't want it to jump a track, that is why I am using the ruler right next to my scoring tool. All right, so we have scored 1/4 of an inch on all 3 sides. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and do that with all 10 pieces. So let's go ahead and get that done. So that was at 7 inches, at 5 inches, upside down, and again at 7 inches. And that again is 1/4 of an inch from each edge. So again, this will be at 7 inches. I'm pressing pretty hard so that we can get through both pieces. At 5, turn it again, and at 7. Again, we are scoring at 7. Push that right to the top. At 7 inches, flipping it around, scoring at 5 inches, flipping it around again, and at 7 inches. Okay? And again, like I said, we're doing this in all 10 pieces. 7 inches. 5 inches. And 7 inches. Okay. Five inches. 5 inches. And 7 inches. So if you can't find these envelopes, you can purchase 5x7 envelopes. You can look and see what size envelopes you have. You could use bigger envelopes. You can use the 6x8s. And again, this is a project that you don't have to have the cardboard box to put it in. If you just want to create your own little accordion file thing that you can fold up and stick in a drawer when you're not using it for a project, that's really great. I tend to like things that are really sturdy and are able to sit out on the shelf. You can, I created one of these in the past as well as die storage for until my die collection got a little big. And then I went to a drawer you know, so there's lots of different things that you can use this nice little trusty box for. Again, it's just a very, very specific pattern to make an accordion kind of pull out thing. And then really it's just organization. So for those of you, again, who, you know, have multiple pieces of things and are looking for a variety of stuff, so that we scored all 10 of our envelopes at 1/4 of an inch from each side and 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move the scoreboard out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and take our trusty little scissors, and we're just going to cut the corners out here. Cut the corners out where there's a cross. So where there, this is the score line, this is the score line, here's the score line, and we're just going to cut out the corners. Okay, so we have just cutting the corners. These are sealed envelopes. We haven't done anything else. We're just going to cut the corners. I went back to find my snap guide for this, and I could not find it anywhere. I couldn't even get into snap guide. It wouldn't let me in, because that was where my original tutorial for this was listed a few years ago. So what we're doing, like I said, is we're just cutting out the corners. Nothing big. Just going to give us an opportunity to have that space so that we can have something that will sit open on the bottom. Ooh, missed one. One more that needs to be scored. All right, here we go. I'm going to score here. Move it to the 5-inch side. And rotate again to the 7-inch side. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead, like I said, and just snip these corners. The next thing that we need to do after throwing all of these in the trash opposed to the floor, which I'm sure that just hit the floor instead of the trash can, we're going to take the envelopes, and then on the non-scored side where the envelope is still sealed, we are just going to put this in and take 1/8 of an inch off the edge. So just a little bit, and that's going to open up our envelopes for us. Okay? We're going to do that for all of the envelopes on the non-scored long side. And there we go. And let's see. Now I normally sink my blade into the middle and pull down and then go up, and that just helps it so that it doesn't tear the paper or crinkle the corners. Some people do a variety of different things. That's the reason I am doing what I am doing with starting kind of a cut in the middle of the envelope. Just makes it easier not to crinkle those corners. And last one. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get rid of all of these pieces. next thing that we are going to do is we are going to use, you can use liquid glue, you can use score tape, you can use whatever it is your heart desires, red line tape, any of that. But one of the next part that we need to do is we need to put score tape at least, or some kind of adhesive in these pieces so that they stick. So you will need to put score tape on the back sides of 9 of these envelopes, and you do not want to go over the score line. Now, ATG with the craft paper may work because it's got a lot of tooth to it. I just don't think it's going to stand up as steady as you could possibly want it to stay. So I am going to go ahead and just use my score tape. And again, I'm just going in between those score lines, not exactly to the edges. I will probably put some liquid glue on the middle part as we go to put these together. But first, we're just going to put all of our adhesive on right now. Some of these score lines are a little hard to see, especially on the back side, but that's not going to matter because we're going to go ahead and grab our bone folder and do our creases here in just a second to create our accordion. I think that one went a little over, maybe. Another reason why it's kind of nice to have good sturdy envelopes to be using and that you can press hard through. One, they'll stand up by themselves, but second of all, they are, you know, kind of getting pieces in and out. Now, I stamped the different numbers and kind of punched a little circle and things like that in order to put tabs on mine. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that piece. I may do something. I may run them on my Cricut. But you can do a variety of ways. You can do tabs. Actually, I may pull out the tab. We had a tags and tab set that came out in the last catalog. It's now sold out, hard to get, but any old tag die or tag punch would do. But I think I'm going to use the tabs. There was a nice little tab thing in there that I probably will use. Maybe some of that other leftover Kraft Cardstock in order to make the tabs for my numbers 1 through 10. So some of them, most of the cards, card kits and things like that, that Plus My Hearts are coming out with now are like, you may make 20 cards, but it's of 4 or 5 different designs. Or they may do 8 different cards of 2, you know, so you could do 16 cards, but majority of the time the cards are duplicates of, you know, so 2 cards of 8 different designs, that kind of stuff. So 10 slots really is pretty average. You may find that you'll have a mini book, like we've got the mini book coming up that is 16 pages long. Some of those you can definitely double up. So you would do like one, in slot 1, you could do your front page. And in slot 2, you would do pages 2 and 3 since they match each other. And then 4 and 5. And then, of course, page number 16 being your end page. So, you know, there's just a variety of ways that you can actually adjust 10 different slots. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and on our score lines, you're going to want to take your bone folder. I'm going to grab this trusty one here, and you are going to give it a really good squish. You're going to want to go ahead and really squish it down so that you have that crease on each side. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and just using your bone folder. Then once your your pieces have been creased, what you're going to do is you're going to open up, and then the edge actually becomes the inside piece. Since we actually created, I may need to do some glue there. Nope. This will allow us to have a 1/4 inch gusset on the bottom, a 1/4 inch gusset on the side. So it's going to give you pieces. You're not going to feel like you can't get things in. So we're just going to tuck that piece in order to make an accordion. Okay. So a good score on the outside makes this so much easier. And of course, having cut your edges. Okay. So we're just going to pinch those together. And then if you have overhang, you can just trim that off. Again, these, envelopes they're envelopes. They're not, this is going to give us kind of a pocket. Just make sure you don't cut through the sides. And here comes Harrison, who is coming down the stairs like a herd of elephants. Hi, Harrison.
Are you busy right now?
I am broadcasting right at the moment. You say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone watching this video.
Yep. So I'm on StreamYard. Yep.
When we're in drive-through the next time at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like if we're at Wendy's or somewhere, make sure can we get some job applications to look at.
Sure.
Sure, starting when?
I don't know when.
When we get food, if we go through a drive-through.
If we go through a drive-through, absolutely. Absolutely.
Or I can get it during Postmates too.
You can if you would like to, yes.
Is there any places, any of the sit-down restaurants that I could work at?
You're over 16. You can work at lots of places. You just have to decide where you're going to work. And then we have to figure out who's going to help you learn how to do the job.
And you can't help me?
Because your mom shouldn't have to go to work with you. Okay?
Should we get a job coach?
Yep, we could look at a job coach. We could figure something out. That big okay? So what are you doing now?
I won a bingo parade last Saturday.
Yeah, but I'm busy right now. I can't talk about that.
Can we go down to
Harrison, I'm busy right at the moment, and unless it has to do with scrapbooking, I really don't want to talk about it. So these get to be a little fiddly, everyone. But again, you're using some nice heavy envelopes. These are Kraft, and they feel a lot like Kraft paper, like the paper grocery bags. And now we have two.
go in there?
And on the other side. It's easy when I don't start fighting that extra flap there. Okay. Oh, so much easier when you take that extra flap out. And those just get pushed in. And then the bottom as well just gets poofed out. So that we have kind of this piece there. All right, so we only have 7 more to do. I'll go ahead and do that this way. Go ahead and pull this one up as well. Separate that one out. For those of you who've been around my channel a lot, you have met Harrison in the past. And that he is my now 17-year-old son who has autism, who is definitely making it a very nice big adventure with this whole stay-at-home order and COVID mess and all of that kind of stuff. He's definitely grown a lot, and so have I. So that's pretty cool. Because this paper has some tooth to it, it definitely does not like to be manipulated too horribly. And so it is, one is putting up a fight. But again, it's a very sturdy craft grocery bag feel. All right. There's that piece. And then by cutting off our corners, we are allowing this to make a corner on the inside for these. And again, we are I'm going to go ahead and take that edge off. Go ahead and take this one off. And when we open these up, this should push in. There we go. For whatever reason, this one is lopsided. But that's not going to matter because it's got a little give to it. All right. So again, we are folding on the score lines. We are giving it a really good, strong push. And again, we're giving it a really awesome flip it both sides. Push down. Okay. So when you pop out the sides, push these down. You get a nice little V. There we go. Open this up as well. Give it a little bit of, just add that gusset in there. And then again, here on the bottom, open it up and push the gusset down. Make the mountain fold a valley fold. There we go. And while this is probably the most boring part of this, I have 3 more to go. All right. And then this pushes into the bottom as well. And apparently, there we go. And second to last one. All right. And then again, inside. And the last one. All right. Oh, wrong one. Oh, here we go. And then we're popping this last piece out, creating a valley instead of a mountain. All right. Now, we'll get rid of all these little extra scraps, put a lid on that so that it is not going to stab us. Throw those almost all the way into the garbage can. And now we have the pieces for the accordion part, this part here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, for those of you who are just interested in getting kind of a box that's going to stand up, we'll get this all together, and then you guys can be done with the video. But I am going to create the box to go with it. So what I'm doing now is I am finding the bottom. I'm lining up the bottoms and the sides, and I am putting them together. So now I have two stuck together, and I'm just taking off the adhesive. Now you can put liquid glue in the middle. I've got some pretty heavy duty score tape. That's not going to be a problem. I'm putting it with the and I want the box to be flat at the bottom, so when it sits, it's going to sit nice. So that is what I am more concerned with in regards to how it is going together. So we're just stacking these one right on top of the other. Now that I think about it, I taped all of those and didn't need to do the last one. Go ahead and just smush that all together. Next piece comes off. This is the bottom. Kneading up those pieces together, trying to keep it kind of straight. I missed a tape across the top there. Let's find our score tape and go ahead and give it a strip across the top here. And then our next box bottom, right there together. And again, adding our next one right on top. So we are just making an accordion. Pocket kind of thingy. And our last one. Go ahead and leave that on there. So now I'm going to go ahead and give a really good, just kind of push down on all those little sides. I'm going to get into each and every one of my pockets, or my, well, they could be pockets, but they're really envelope pieces. Now, the cool thing about this is that you do have something that will stand up on its own, and it also expands. So it's really nice and sturdy. It's not going to tip over. You go to stick your pieces in and things like that. So that is super awesome. Go ahead and stick my backing paper for this over here. All right. So we now have the guts of our box. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do the box itself. So what we need first is my chipboard piece. Now, one of the things that a lot of people sometimes do is they use their cutters with an old blade in order to kind of cut chipboard. I tend to use a craft knife and a ruler, and I'm not even going to use that ruler because it doesn't have a metal edge on it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my metal edged ruler here. And I'm going to grab my craft knife. And it's got a pretty new blade on it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is line this up. And I'm going to go ahead and make my first cut at 7.5. And this is that 11.5-inch piece of chipboard. And what I'm going to do is really just kind of keep adding a little pressure, but not try and saw through the whole thing all at once. She's going to give me a much cleaner edge if I just take my time. Lots of passes in order to kind of get through. And you feel when it kind of lets go, because it lets go. It's really nice when it does that. All right. So next we're going to go ahead and cut the 2.5-inch piece. And like I said, you'll just feel it let go. Okay. And here is our other 2.5-inch piece. All right. Oh, almost. Not quite. Okay. So we have our 5 by 7.5-inch base piece, 2.5 by 7.5. This is an extra piece. We now just need to cut these two pieces out here. We're going to do exactly what we did before. Doesn't take that long. It just takes a little time and just a little patience. You just need to be just take your time. Oh, you get out of the groove, just slow down. So got a little out of the groove there. I'm just going to let that go. It's going to end up covered up. Not a big deal, because we're going to cover that with a connector strip anyway. Kind of like you hit a knot in wood, you actually can hit a knot in the paper as well. And that where that just had a clump of fiber or something that just really is not wanting to be cut through or gone through or whatever. And so you just kind of have to be a little more patient, go slower and slower and slower, and you will get through it. You just gotta get to be a little persnickety there. All right, so now we have our two pieces that are 2.5 by 5, our two pieces that are 2.5 by 7.5, our 5 by 7.5 inch piece, and then we have some extra pieces and a bunch of chipboard dust. Okay. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to use our construction strips, and we're going to set these aside for a second, and we need our scoreboard again, and we are going to score all of these 1-inch strips down the middle of each of them, and that is going to give us an opportunity to have a good bend right over the top. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just go ahead and score all of these at 1/2 inch. So again, we have 8 of these 3 by 1 inch pieces. We have 6 of these 6 by 1 inch pieces. And we have 6 of the 1 by 8s. And we're just scoring them all down the center. Try not to let it jump the track for you. All right, now that all of those are scored, we're going to get this out of the way. And now we are going to add our score tape onto the insides. And again, another boring part, but necessary. If you don't do this part, then you have exposed chipboard, and it just, I have had more paper cuts and things like that from exposed chipboard than I care to admit. So wrapping the chipboard, at least with the construction strips this way, makes it really, really nice. And it also helps put the box together and keep it together. It also is kind of a cheater method so that you don't have to use up a ton of your paper. The strips themselves cover the raw edges and the sharp edges, and then you use less pattern paper, designer paper, whatever you want to call it, on your projects, because it is you don't need to go right to the edge, and you aren't covering up a bunch of paper in the middle. So you can wrap things completely. However, for this box, because it's supposed to be functional, we don't need to do that. We just need to protect our hands from getting all cut up from putting in and out or grabbing wrong or trying to keep it from sliding off the table onto the floor, that kind of stuff. So anyhow, oh, all right. And it looks like the last one. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and fold all of these and burnish them. Now, I purposely cut these pieces a little longer than the edges of my boxes for being able to miter corner edges or doing being able to cut off a little opposed to being specific and perfect is probably one of the things that I need you to know, is that these pieces are much longer than they need to be, at least a ½ an inch in some instances. But that makes it so that it's easier to get it to wrap around, to kind of work better, that kind of stuff. So by also folding and burnishing these, we are helping the tape stick, so it'll be easier to have the tape come off. All right, so the next thing we are going to do is we're going to take our side pieces, and we are going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and attach our sides together. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the tape off of one of the edges. You are going to put that down at the edge like so. I tend to use my craft knife quite a bit. And we're going to go ahead and you know what, are we going to do the insides first or the outsides? You know what, we're going to go ahead and do the insides first. So what we're going to do is we are going to butt all of these up right next to each other. And they're going to fold in. Okay? And then we need another short piece. And our final long piece. And then we have another short piece here on the end. All right. I'll go ahead and cut that off there, and this one there. Now what we're going to do, we need to add our short piece here. And another ending piece. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add our long pieces along the bottom edge here of this one. And again, we are going to do all four sides of this one here. And then finally, this last piece. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add our bottom piece here. And again, we're going to go ahead and butt it up right against each other, because this will go this way. So all we're doing is creating the box using the edges and using our construction strips on the inside of the box. And then our final little piece here. And now we have our box all on the inside. With our seams covered. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take these additional pieces here. Yeah. All right, that's a little off, but it's not going to matter much. So let's go ahead and do the side pieces first. And I'm just covering the edges. Okay. And then this is going on the outside here, again, to protect your fingers. I cut that one a little short, I think. But again, just so that it has a finished look. And we are covering the edges. Just like that. And let's see. I'm short a small one. Well, let's go ahead and we should have a little one. 2, 4, 6, 7. There should be another one. There it is. That's what happens when you got messes all over the place. All right. So now we have these long pieces. To go around the top edges, to have them kind of finished off and looking nice. And then we're just kind of flattening the top so it's not real sharp. And then we have a side piece here. Hello, Harrison.
Is your video done?
No. Still working on it.
Gonna be on for about 6 more hours.
Maybe.
Like
a motion picture.
some shows are on for like 6 hours.
I know. It's called a marathon.
No, one show is on for 6 full hours.
Oh, wow. That was a very long movie then. What was that? Gone with the Wind or something? Please get out of your dad's stuff.
Is there something I can do tomorrow for...
Harrison, I'm busy right at the moment. We already discussed what we were doing tomorrow.
And the rest of it.
Okay? All right. And now we have the bottoms of our boxes to do. All right, so this is almost done. The hardest part, like I said, you can easily, for the accordion kind of thing, you can do that without having a box. I just prefer having a box. I like having a box. It makes it a little more sturdy. It looks okay sitting out. However, you can do this with just an accordion as well. And then you can just, you know, smush it all down, put it in the drawer, pull it out when you need to in order to put your different pieces and parts in. But like I said, this was one of those projects that one of my customers and viewers, when I was doing Ustream and the classes and everything quite often, she was using a baby wipe container, and so we decided to make something cool. And this was kind of it. So, and since I wasn't able to find the directions any longer on Stamp Guide, Snap Guide, I decided I would redo them for YouTube and my Facebook page. So, again, we are very close to being done. All right. So right now I'm going to go ahead and clean up my space here and get all this junk out of the way so I can go ahead and put the pretty paper on it and put the box completely the rest of the way together for you guys. And then I'm going to quickly die cut some tabs and go ahead and I don't know if I'm going to do, I don't know if I'm going to do the tabs or not. I may do them and then kind of as a decoration. This gives you kind of the kickoff point of where it all kind of starts and how it all works. So then this fits nicely inside your box. I, in the past, have connected it to the box so that it just doesn't pull away, that kind of thing. So that was really good. But it also allows you to put extra scraps or, you know, the extra pieces in the back of the box. As you have, when you're cutting, you usually have extra pieces, so it gives you a place to stick them if you don't attach both sides to the box. It gives you a little bit of room. All right, so let's look at our pieces here. So we have one piece that goes on the inside here at the bottom, which just kind of finishes the box in the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to do the inside of the box with the star pattern on peeking out. I'm just going to kind of center that down there. And that prevents anything from falling out, kind of getting stuck in one of those flaps at the bottom. If you choose not to kind of do, you can kind of do the pieces there. All right, and then I'm going to also do the blue pieces on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 of these on the inside with the blue. Just like that, so you guys can see. And then this one here. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and do the long pieces. All right, so let's go ahead and put the arrow pieces on the outside of our box here. And again, this just kind of finishes it up, kind of makes it look kind of finished. My trimmer really tore this paper up. I didn't like it a whole lot. It's got lots of fuzzies. Oh, good. I am going in the right direction. Everything's pointing the right way. Didn't even think about that when I was putting them on, so that's good. So we have now a finished inside box, and then the outside, and then we have our piece here. I think I'm going to grab this piece of Aurora that we cut into. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and cover this front page since I've already done that. So this now is measuring about 6 3/4 by 4 7/8. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and cut a 3-inch piece off of this. And it was 6 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and stick that at the top since I put the adhesive on this already. And now I'm going to grab my tape again here and go here. And go ahead and pull this piece off and this piece off. And then what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and center that piece right in there and give that a good stick. And again, these pull out pretty far, so you can stick a lot in here if you need to. And that, but here is the box that I created. I'm super excited about it. I'm going to go ahead and put some tabs on the pieces that say like 1 through 10. I'm going to use one of my one of the dies was available in the last catalog that's no longer available right at the moment. Was just a really super popular die. And once I know which ones are super popular, I will be letting people know so that you can put those on your wish list and get them as quickly as possible. My website is gerriannarmstrong.closetomyheart.com. And that's where you can purchase the items to create a box like this. I do have a Facebook page, Scrap and Stamp Creations, over on Facebook, and I'll be loading this video up over there, but it is here on YouTube, it's here on Facebook, on my Facebook page, and I am super, super excited to be able to share this with you. So thanks a lot for joining me for the last hour and 30 minutes. And I'd love to see what you make in your box as well if you choose to make one. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot and good night.